Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Tony Sirianni podcast. I am thrilled to have our friend Stan Gregor, who's the chairman and CEO of Summit Financial Holdings. Stan, welcome.
Welcome, Tony. Great to be here.
Well, yeah, we have a ton to talk about, so I know it's not going to be hard for us to fill 20-something minutes of time. First of all, there's an awful lot going on right now. We're talking. This is the middle of a run on some banks in California, and there's a lot of concern about inflation and everything else. Just in general, how you guys holding up and how you handling it?
We're doing well. We're a 40-plus-year-old company. This is not the first time we've seen some volatility in the marketplace. And for me personally, having run through the financial crisis when I was at Wells and Wachovia and that whole experience, yeah, it's an interesting time.
Yeah, and well, that's something people don't really know about Summit, that it's been around for a long time. There's a lot of legs to it.
Yeah, it's celebrated 41 years in February. It's an interesting organization. I mean, if you look at the legacy, the history of Summit, it was started by advisors for advisors. The game plan for the original founders was never to make this a national behemoth and to make this a big business across the whole country. The advisors that started this firm, they wanted the best people, the best resources, the best technology, to win business, service their clients, and bring on new business. So it definitely has survived the test of time. When we came in and saw the organization, it was a no-brainer to go in and make a major investment.
Well, keep things simple. Things tend to work out pretty well when you don't complicate stuff. So, Stan, we were talking I think a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, and we were talking about the partnership model, which I think is really fascinating and want to take a look at. But we were also talking about family, and I was really enthused about the way you sort of related the partnership to family, because I think culturally that's what a lot of advisors do with their teams. A lot of times you talk to an advisor about a big team. Hey, we're a family. How do you inculcate that in a firm? Which it seems like that's got to be harder to do.
It is. It's a great question. And look, every successful advisor probably spent time at a number of different firms. We've all been given the whole story about, you matter and your family, but it doesn't actually work out that way, right? It's in many cases, you're just a number, right? I mean, the big firms, you're just producing revenue and that's all they care about. The culture here is just different. I mean, I've been at some, mega national global firms. We try to build this kind of culture, but we never were successful because of the scale of that. This is a group which is very unique, and in a way almost similar to the Goldman model pre-IPO, where a partnership model truly is how it was built. So, as I indicated, it was started over 40 years ago with a team of advisors. They built it for themselves. They built it for other advisors, and they continued that culture. And Tony, look, I don't know. I've never been at a firm where advisors are with the same firm for 25 to 40 years. I mean, that's the tenure of the guys and gals that are here, which is just very unique. And what I've seen is the model is it's a partnership focus. It's also a family focus, right? I mean, a number of the teams, they vacation together, the kids grew up together. I call it the Sunday factor, right? They get together on a Sunday.
That's nice.
And that's not normal for most companies. I mean, people work, 5 days a week and then you kind of scatter, but that family culture, I think, is different.
But you also said to me something that I think was really, really cool about the way you view the equity in the firm. How to treat people, because I think that's what culture kind of boils down to. Like you said, a lot of you could talk is cheap, right? So everybody can say, and culture becomes the kind of thing. It's a word that it's starting to lose its meaning, I think, today, because as long as your culture is not a wirehouse, well, then you assume everybody understands what you're talking about. But when you talk about specifics, and I thought the way you looked at equity was really interesting in terms of sort of bringing that culture out.
Yeah, it is, Tony. It is different, and look, there's a lot of forms of equity out there. I've been the receiver of equity that turned out to be worthless, right? Because of some, yeah, right. But yes, the way we structure the organization and the way we view we view equity is a pure partnership. And it really started with a conversation that we had with some of the merchant partners about, how do we create an organization going forward that is the organization of the future? And one of the things that Mark Spilker actually said, who was one of the merchant founders, he said, let's build a partnership model, and let's build a company as if you're doing it with your family, right? And what does that mean? Does that mean you go out and you acquire your son's or daughter's businesses at the age of 35, knowing they have another 30 years of growth? Or do you create a structure where you have them buy into a minority position and they get to use dad's company and utilize all the services, all the people, all the capital? And when and if dad's successful in monetizing this mothership, at that point, you take some chips off the table. So that's a different culture here that I know there's a lot of different models out there. There's partial purchases, there's
Right.
full acquisitions and whatnot. Our belief was, let's create a partnership structure as if you're doing it with your kids, give them the tools to succeed, and give them optionality when it comes time to monetize at a later date.
And that's the kind of thing, I think when you start like that, there's certainly a trickle down. The advisors feel it, right? I mean, you feel
Right.
it informs your decisions. I remember working at Legg Mason, and Jim Brinkley used to say, well, that's a good idea, Tony, but what's the Legg Mason way of doing this? Meaning we have this caring culture. What's the way that we can do it that we'll all be comfortable with? And I think that's a great way to run a firm.
Well, I appreciate it.
Transparency is kind of the other thing, right? I mean, if you're starting a firm today, in my mind, we talked about I talk about this all the time. This year I'm seeing, all these firms are moving their cultures and to the middle, right? On one hand, you'd have wirehouses, on the other hand, you have kind of quirky RIAs, but everybody else is sort of embracing these cultural ethos that says, hey, there's the primacy of the advisor-client relationship, all that stuff. And the firms are all different types. I think you can make a good argument that the Steeples, the Janneys, some of those regional firms that let you own your book, I mean, they're there too. It's just different flavors of ice cream there. But transparency is critical. If you're gonna be in that middle, the more transparent you are, in my mind, the more. And you and I talked about that too. So just some thoughts on transparency.
Well, look, I'm not here to talk about other models, right? I mean, our ADV says it all, right? If you're with Summit, you want to leave. We actually notify the clients in the ADV stating that it's the advisor's client, and not only will we give the advisor all the information, we're gonna help them move. So that's a pure transparency model, right? In my opinion, this is not a prison sentence. And I know you cover a lot of firms, and you read about it almost every month. Somebody's getting sued for taking their book of business. Well, so much for owning your book of business, right?
Yep.
So our belief is pure transparency. Everything we built here, Tony, is around the partnership structure. So this is not a structure of, you give the guy an X payout, you scrape here, you scrape there, you hit him with this expense, you hit him with that expense. That's not the model. This is not a cost plus approach. This is a partnership approach where we truly are trying to give the advisors basically the entire ecosystem, from people, technology, processes, platforms, pretty much close to cost, right? And our belief is, as partners, we will make money, and so will you, as you grow your business and grow your practice. And at one day, when it comes to time for monetization, we're in there for the long game, right? We're in there for the long-term approach.
But for a lot of advisors, what's interesting for a lot of advisors, even smart, sophisticated advisors coming from a wirehouse into this environment, it's like buying a car. I mean, you're sitting there, you feel like, I know I'm getting screwed somewhere. It's the price or the financing or the trade-in, something's, because they make it so confusing. So that whole cost plus model, to keep explaining that, because I think that's the kind of thing that advisors look at. They just want a straight answer. Just give me a straight answer.
And we don't see that in the industry, right? You see players out there. Oh, we're giving it a 95% payout. Well, how come? Why, when the guy gets the check at the end of the month, he's at 60%? What happened between those two variables, right? That's not the approach. The approach here is growth, right? I mean, one of the founding advisors told me, when I asked him, I said, "Why are you here 35 plus years? Like, why haven't you gone across the street or taken a check or something?" And he said, Stan, I could never get this kind of support anywhere I would go. The people, the resources, I mean, just the financial planning team of lawyers that are on staff that work for the advisors. I mean, they work for Summit, but they support the advisors, the investment team, the insurance planning group, the technology team. All of these resources are there for the team to win. And the tagline the person uses, he said, Stan, Summit, for me, it empowers growth. I can grow my practice. I can help my clients grow their net worth. I have all the tools I need that my clients need me to do for them. So
and that's
an
important because
interesting approach.
if you're starting again, I think an advisor looks at that thing, says 95% payout, look, 100% payout, but that's it. There's no, you still got to provide yourself all those things. There's something about scale. And as we get more complicated, FINRA, we just wrote an article. They're going to do 1,000, Reg BI checks in offices this year. I mean, they're out there. You need a friend. It's deep water.
Well, I would go deeper than you need a friend. You need transparency, you need honesty, and you need somebody to be your partner and have your back. All right. So one of the things that we cherish here is if you are a partner with us, one is we want to help you grow your practice, but I think equally as important, Tony, we want to help you that you don't blow up for some reason from a regulatory standpoint, a cybersecurity standpoint. Everything we do is around protection of the advisor, their client base, and helping them grow. And a lot of times I hear, like you do, you hear the stories out there, something was left out, right? You join, it's like buying, the old B shares, right? Mr. Jones, there's no sales charge up front. Yeah, but there's a back end charge, right? You don't tell somebody about that. And too many times, look, I see it monthly. Too many times I see
it every
advisors
day
come to me and say, I feel like I was BS'd, right? I was told it was X, I go in there, it's Y. I don't need compliance. I don't need this. Really? Okay. You don't need that until you get tagged, right? And then you're out of business, and then you're willing to give back all you collected just to be in business. I mean, I see it over and over and over again. There's no free ride, and
no free ride.
It's a shame.
Yeah, there's no free ride. That's the best way to put it. There just isn't. You said something about growth, and does that include you'll help advisors if they want to, acquire other, advisors or firms, and that, because I think that's the thing advisors have. A thoughtful advisor can't be looking at an upfront check. This is just, my opinion, because you're worth X today. If you're not going to a place, you're going to be X plus 10. Why are you doing it? Right. There's no,
right.
You're going to lose too much in the interim, but a firm that can help them grow. Right. If you can put your money where your mouth is on the growth part, I think that's powerful.
Well, I'm going to say 2 points with that. Number one, take a look at the teams that are here. Yeah. Why are they here 25 to 40 years? Right? If it's not working, believe me, they would have been gone. Every one of our teams is an independent contractor. They can pick up their check and go tomorrow, right? But part of what we did, Tony, when Merchant and I stepped in to reorganize this company, refuel the capital, and build what I consider is probably the most innovative technology stack that's out there today. The other piece we looked at was, how do we help teams truly grow? And for us, we shut down recruiting for 3 years. So just think about that. Who in their right mind in this business goes in, buys a company, and shuts down growth from a recruiting standpoint for 3 years? The reason we did that is we wanted to build the best technology stack that's out there. We wanted to have the best custodial connectivity we can have. We built an investment platform that I consider, again, some of the most innovative, creative structures that are out there, alternatives, private equity, your traditional SMAs and whatnot. We want to position the advisor to succeed. But what you touched on for growth, every firm I worked for said the exact same thing. Oh, we're going to help you grow. And the second the guy joins, the guy that's supposed to help you grow somehow doesn't work at his company anymore. Like that guy just vanished. So we put in a growth team. We put in a growth marketing group. What does that mean? Everything from helping an advisor create a real website, right? Social media, direct marketing. In many cases, they need capital. So we help them with working capital to fuel their business. In other cases, advisors have connectivity in the marketplace of somebody that wants to retire. at another firm and wants to sell their practice. Well, we help finance that structure.
And also internally, I'm assuming you would do that too. So internal succession, right? Because that's part of the.
Absolutely. We have G3, generation 3 people today with the firm already. So it's already on dad started the business, the son, and now the son's family's coming in, or the daughter's coming in. But yes, we want you to view Summit as kind of a cradle to grave structure. You never should have to worry about going anywhere else.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave it at that because I like that as a thought. And believe it or not, we've been over 20 minutes or so with that. So is there anything else that I didn't hit on that you want? Because we'll talk again, as you know, but anything else you want to leave everybody with? Because I think we're at the time limit.
Look, I think we're good. I mean, any questions you come up in the future, be more than happy to discuss it. But we're excited. We're bringing on teams, right? We've grown 5x in the last 3 years, and someone's been doing this for 40 plus years. I think we know, a few good markets, bad markets. We know how to survive and thrive. And I hope some of the viewers find a value in this and look us up. So thank you.
Good talking to you, Stan. We'll talk to you again.
Tony, thank you.